Oh my god. Guys, this... What? What did I just witness? I just witnessed greatness, y'all, okay? So I just finished watching the Great and Almighty Wanted Special from Steven... What is up, everybody? This is Blogger Zen. And guys, that was awesome, okay? I just saw the Steven Universe Wanted Special, and I gotta take off my hat because that was just so freaking awesome, okay? We have to talk about it, okay? So, just before we do, major spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. So, one of the things I wanted to quickly point out was the fact that instead of just being like a full, complete episode, what they did was actually divided it up into a few different episodes each, which kind of like they showed Steven Baum all at one time, which I thought was pretty cool. Second, each episode, in one way or another, was really plot. It really moved the plot along. It was so twisted. I mean, wow. So I think I'm just going to start from the beginning with the episode Stuck Together, where we pick immediately after the end of this live Steven Bomb, where Steven and Lars being transported, stuck inside Topaz, which you find out was actually a female, which a lot of people thought was actually the first male gem. But more on that later. And while we're on that subject, we also find out a few interesting things. Yes, I took notes on it. So, there were also a lot of good comedy quotes. For example, like when Aquamarine is questioning Steven, he calls her awful, small, and mean. And to this, Aquamarine laughed and said, "Ha! Is that how you got your laddies all together?" I'm not the best at recalling that stuff, but it's pretty funny. Probably the biggest thing about this episode was actually we finally got some big character development from Lars. One of them being that he finally admits that he wants to be big, he wants to be there for people, but he's just so... What's the word I was looking for? He says that he's a wuss. He's very concerned that he's not really the one to be helpful, as opposed to Steven, who's always outgoing, cheerful, and very funny. So, that happens. And also, on a side note, Steven finds a destabilizer in the ship, and he decides to try to use it. But in order to get to it, he has to have Lars take off his pants and use it as a lasso, which of course he doesn't do anyway, but that was probably the most awkward moment of it all. After Stuck Together, we had The Trial, which, to be honestly, was probably the most twisted and most unexpected episode of the whole entire special, y'all. So, in it, of course, we're introduced to a few new gems and even some old returning ones. For example, Moonstone, which that's not her real name, but that's what I decided to call her because her head looks kind of like a crescent. And she's appointed to Steven as kind of like his defense attorney, providing him a case for him in his trial again with the diamonds. Which, I hate to say this, but there was no white diamond there, despite her insignia lighting up in the trial's floor, which honestly a lot of us were expecting, but nope. The big white one ain't coming out till later, y'all, I guess. So, as the trial is going on, they first let the prosecuting Moonstone go first, and she presents a very... what you expect from the case. You know, she was defective, she was horrible, she shattered her. So, the diamonds eat this up, which I will point out that the yellow diamond just really wants to just get over it, shatter Steven, just be done with it. However, Blue Diamond, despite being more emotionally attached to Pink Diamond, wanted to actually hear out Steven's case and see what we figured out. Big mistake, and I'll explain why in a second. So after that, after the prosecuting's reasoning, it was Moonstone's turn. So she honestly screws it all up, and then Steven decides to just buff up and go straight to the diamonds in front of them. And he says, I'm guilty, I'm wrong, and all that stuff. Oh. And also, so, after that, they give the prosecutor another chance where they call upon, get this, Eyeball, the Ruby, and, he's recalling the events that happened in Bubble. So, they use him as a witness, and they even used Lars as kind of like some evidence to support that Rose was faulted. Because why would she, as I said, betray her own kind for these, I say, call her lowlifes, dumb, and loud creatures? Which all seem fine and good. And then, back in the holding cell for Steven, Moon is arguing back and forth like, why'd you do that? Why did you say you did this when in reality you didn't? You know that they're going to kill you if you keep on doing like this. She says, well, I had to suffer this. I'm half gem, okay? And then she's like, you don't know, do you? So from this, she actually creates a very well thought out and provoking trial where she even calls upon Blue Diamond's Palanquin to use as kind of a stage for the setup, because, as we all know, Pink Diamond was shouted in front of her Palanquin, which was the exact same model and type as Blue's. In doing so, she presented the most plot-twisting conclusion ever conceived in the series. That Pink Diamond was apparently surrounded by her escorts and her diamonds, or not her diamonds, but her pearl, her sapphire, all for her loyal servants and her court members. With that said, how could a single soldier, a rose quartz, how could they get into there without anybody like causing alarm, or maybe even her pearl crying out in terror? And that's when we get the biggest twist of them all, this whole series ever. She proposes that possibly one of the diamonds did it. Yeah. And obviously the diamonds get pretty pissed off at her. They shatter Moonstone, and they even shatter the prosecuting Moonstone because they just annoy her. And then Steven and Lars use Blue's Palanquin to escape the trial, and they end up falling into the depths of Homeworld, where as they're going through there, you see this weird cutout of what appears to be some big gem in the sky, which I believe might be either some sort of silhouette or maybe even the actual white diamond. So she was kind of there, but she was like the god watching over all of it. Which I might dig deeper into that, to be honest. Then, after the trial, we had what was it called? Off Colors, where we're now in the depths of Homeworld, and Steven and Lars are trying to avoid the roamers, which if they detect a unidentified gem, they'll defuse it and they'll collect it and send it back to where it belongs. Well, in this case, for Steven, that would be back to the Shire and possibly shattered. So, they managed to escape because of the help of a rubric. Not just any rubric, but a kind of a, what do you call it? A fused twin rubric. So there are actually two rubrics fused together, and they help them. They take them to what is apparently one of the oldest kindergartens on Homeworld, where they meet a few other off-color gems, which means they're imperfect and not exactly the best. For example, we have a Sue-like character who exactly wasn't the best looking, and then we had a red sapphire that wasn't what she was, but Her similarities to sapphires are pretty much to make her a sapphire, but red. And could, she can only see things that happen like only a few just moments after it happens. So she's like a past sapphire in a way. So history vision, I guess. And let's see, did I leave anybody out? Oh yeah, and we also have the one that really stuck out to me the most was a giant caterpillar character who goes by the name. Sorry about that. Frostlight, which kind of looks like a caterpillar Maggie and the Ferocious Beast character almost, and she is actually fused with 6 different gems. So Homer has a problem with seeing 2 gems fused together. Well, with 6, you're probably going to be pretty wanted. With that said, she actually, so eventually they meet each other, introduce themselves. They discuss personalities, which I'll let you find on your own. And then the roamers find them. They're looking for them, but, the off-colors, they hide with Steven and Lars. But then, in this time, Lars is still kind of like that wuss inside. He doesn't want to be a hero. Then, out of nowhere, he actually saves Rubric from being shattered, from being diffused, and from the roamers. And because he's not a gem, he doesn't have a physical gem in him, he was undetectable by them. Which, of course, he fights them off and even gets on top of one of them and rides them straight into a wall. He breaks his back and then falls to the ground, dead. And of course, this leads automatically to Lars's head, which is the last episode. And in it, Steven cries on him, which turns his entire skin and his hair pink. Now wait, I'll get onto this in a bit. And with that, and because of that, he comes back to life. His heartbeat is lowered very much. And yeah. They're trying to figure out, okay, what is going on with Lars? I mean, Steven knows he can heal people with spit, but with his tears? What did he do? So, he pokes. The thing that really gets the plot moving is he pokes Lars's hair, which opens up a portal, another portal, into like that little pocket dimension that Lion has. But instead of just being a totally separate one, the pocket dimension is a real dimension. And it's actually right next to Lion's. So kind of like they built. So it's kind of like if Lion's dimension was a house and they just built the other one right next to it, and they're together, like in a neighborhood. Hope that explained that. So, he goes back through Lion's Mane, which takes him straight to home, and he eats, he drinks, and even talks to Lion a bit, saying like, if only the answer is you could tell me, if only if you could talk. He goes back to Homeworld through Lars's head, or hair, I should say. I gotta really take care of mine. But anyway, and then he comes back and he says, guys, you don't have to live in fear anymore. You can be safe. You can come back with us to Earth. It's not a terrible place. It's a great place. You can be wherever you want to be. So they all are in favor of this idea, but the only problem is Lars can't fit through his own hair. He would break his whole body in half if he tried. So the off-color gems decide, look, we'll come with you, but we're not going to go through Lars's head, okay? So Steven, despite wanting to bring them all there at once and immediately, decides that that's best, and he leaves Lars, who is now probably immortal. I'm just going to get that out there. He's probably now immortal, and probably never be able to grow old as Sadie. I'm sorry, shippers, I just had to point that out. And now he is with the off-colors, who will now become like his guides through the depths of Homeworld. And with that said, Steven goes back to Homeworld he goes back to Earth through Lion's Mane, right as the gang comes back with Connie and even Greg with them. And of course, Pearl is all freaking out, like, oh my gosh, even if we were to make the spaceship more powerful, we still couldn't reach home. Oh god, what are we going to do? And she even looks at Steven and she says, hi, Steven. And she goes on bantering, and then she's like, Steven! So they freak out, they hug him, and they all start crying, loving him, embracing him. And then, star closing, the end. So, what did I think of this? Well, here's what I thought about it. Amazing, okay? It definitely, these episodes really never seem to never disappoint me, and they even surprised me more than I was expecting. I mean, I was never expecting the theory of the diamond shattering pink. I was never expecting the portal, the pocket dimensions of Lars and Lion's Mane to be connected, and I probably wasn't expecting a 6-gem fusion. Now that's pretty cool. So, what could this mean for the future Steven Universe? Well, of course, eventually they're going to have to get Lars back, and even the new off-color gems, who might be a big key player in what I think will be the diamonds coming to Earth. Yeah. They decide, we had enough of it, we are going to go to Earth, we're going to kill Rose, we are going to shatter every last gem on there, then we're going to get the cluster, and whatever that thing is, and I think the off-colors will be kind of like their allies in a big brawl, a big Rose against Diamonds battle. So, guys, let me down below what you thought of the Wanted special, and what you expect for the coming future Steven Universe. Just leave it down below, and I'll try to get back to y'all as soon as possible. Once again, this is Blogger Zen saying, peace out.